Hello and good day. I should mention that this lecture is at a graduate level comprehension. It was given at the Virtual World's Best Practices Education a while back, and it is custom tailored for use in the classroom situation. So a while back, when I was a senior systems analyst at Exxon, I told my manager, Bill Wheelock, that I wanted to have a project with everyone in the world. Mr. Wheelock was an old school manager, very serious. His eyes got very wide as he looked at me and asked, "Do you think you can do that?" Hello, my name is James Neville, also known as Sitearm, and I am owner and practitioner in applied online collaboration. My specialties include systems analysis, social media, team operation, and multimedia composition. My online avatar is Sitearm Madonna, and my research focus is the nature of virtual environments in human expression. Today, I would like to share with you some of my results so far and to invite you to discuss your thoughts and reactions to the data. So to get us started, let me ask each of you right now, what is your mission in life? And for what are you seeking allies? And at this point, for classroom use, you can pause and take discussion. What is your mission in life, and for what are you seeking allies? All right. So I appreciate your feedback on that. My own mission in life is related to my background, having a degree in physics and systems engineering, doing graduate thesis work on world modeling using statistical data, and then specializing in global information systems. And finally, the last major part of my career is virtual world operations. So thank you again for your willing participation in these discussions, because this is where the good stuff is going to come out. In today's presentation, we will present models for connection and interaction online for those participating in, facilitating, and forming social communication networks, and basically any kind of productive work network in general. Participants will be able to reach extended audiences with shared areas of interest and practice. This presentation will be given in ARC. We are in ARC 1 right now, the agenda and problem statement. And then we'll pause at the end of these ARCs for your reactions and discussion led by your classroom instructor. So the problem statement. From my point of view, the problem is, how do I reach everyone in the world? The world has approached 8 billion people. How do I reach them? I could actually try calling them on the phone, because 5 billion people have mobile phones already out of 8 billion. But maybe that's a stretch. Let's redefine the problem. How do I reach everyone else in the world who shares my areas of interest and practice, whom I don't even know? How do I find allies for my work? How do we find allies for our work? How do I expand the scope and impact of my global networks of allies, starting with whom I already know? Six degrees of separation is the idea that all people are six or fewer social connections away from each other. The concept was originally set out in the 1929 short story Chains by Hungarian author Frigyes Karinthy. It was popularized in the 1950 play 6 Degrees of Separation by American playwright John Gurr. Empirical studies have been conducted to confirm this connectedness experimentally. In 1969, an experiment using postcards sent by the U.S. mail confirmed an average connection distance of 6. In 2010, a study using Twitter confirmed an average connection distance of 5, as did a subsequent 2016 study using Facebook. The number 6 can also be predicted using random graph network models using the right parameters for populations and individual connections. This is in the footnote here. If you take a population of 8 billion and each member of the 8 billion has 50 connections, then the predicted distance between any one member and another is about 6. We'll talk a little bit more about having 50 connections. So, this is a pause point. Do you buy this? Does it fit? We're talking about 6 degrees of separation. We're talking about reaching people in the 8 billion of the world that could be your allies. Okay, thank you for your feedback. Beginning Arc 2. 7 plus or minus 2 is an example of a cognitive memory limit. If we are asked to remember a list of 10 items or more, most of us cannot do it unless the information is presented in chunks. A chunk is the largest meaningful unit in a list that a person can easily recognize. For example, if I said, remember this, 10010101001, most people could not do it. But if instead I said, remember this, 1001, 0100, 1001, most people would be able to do it because I have grouped it into 3 chunks. What counts as a chunk depends on the knowledge of the person being tested. For non-English speakers who see the string FOXJUMPSDOG, it makes no sense, whereas most English speakers will automatically group it into 3 chunks: fox, jumps, dog. For non-Chinese speakers who see this string, Hu Li Chao Gao, it makes no sense, whereas most Chinese speakers will automatically group it into 3 chunks: fox, jumps, dog. Dunbar's number is an example of a social relationship limit. It states that the maximum number of meaningful relationships an average human being can sustain is 150. That's followed, according to the theory, it's based as a direct function of neocortex size. According to the theory, the tightest circle just has 5 people, loved ones, followed by successive layers: good friends, 15, meaningful contacts, 150, friends at 50, that's the 50 we talked about earlier, 500 for acquaintances, and 1,500 people you could possibly recognize. Now, people can move in and out of these circles at the bottom, depending on the frequency of interaction and changes over time. But the idea is, if you're going to move someone from here down to here, you're going to have to somehow carve out some space for them to fit. Why? The social brain hypothesis states that primate brains reflect the demands of complex social systems. Primates, including humans, engage in tactical deception, coalition formation behaviors. These behaviors require the capacity to predict the behaviors of others. This capacity to predict the behaviors of others behind yourself is called theory of mind, done in the prefrontal cortex, which is used to project, ascribe mental states to others in order to analyze and infer their likely actions in response to ours. We use theory of mind most heavily with our close relationships, such as family and best friends. We use it substantially with our medium relationships, such as professional colleagues and longtime associates. We use it least with our distant relationships. In essence, we are running mental simulations in our brains, one for each relationship that we maintain. It is a balancing act. Close relationships require detailed and resource intensive simulations. For example, will my girlfriend like this gift? Will my father be pleased with this party? Will my boss be pleased with my work? Medium and distant relationships take less resources unless we move them closer to changes based on circumstances or work. For unknown relationships beyond our 1500 cognitive limit, we use stereotypes until and unless somebody that is a stereotype to us moves in closer to where we can understand them. So let's pause here and discuss. Do you buy it? Does this fit? How does it help? Okay, beginning arc 3. Small world networks link strangers through short chains of acquaintances. Small world networks embody order and disorder and are found in many real world phenomena, including social networks. Small world networks have long range random shortcuts that connect members through common acquaintances. The slide shows an example of 12 members and how they connect to each other. Some of the members, such as Rajat and Francis, only connect to 2 others. Some of the members, such as Emily and Larry, connect 6 more or more people. All of the members are connected by shortcuts to all of the others. For example, Ryan can connect to Arnold in 3 steps by going to Doug, to Rebecca, to Arnold. There's an issue. The issue is it's a big difference between knowing that any 2 people in this network can be connected by a short path and finding that path in practice. We're going to pause here and discuss. Do you buy it? Does it fit? How does it help? Okay, we are now moving to Arc 4. Connected members have degrees of separation. This slide shows a diagram of me connected to you by one step in this presentation. The light blue line shows that it would take us 16 steps to reach somebody named Amy, who represents a person that neither you nor I know, but who would still be a good ally. If only we could reach Amy. Connected members have small world networks which reduce the degrees of separation. This slide shows that you are actually part of a small world network consisting of associates 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Furthermore, number 6 knows somebody named 7 who is part of another small world network of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Furthermore, member 12 knows somebody named 13 who is part of a third small world network, 13, 14, 15, and Amy belongs. The light blue line now shows that using shortcuts, it would only take us 6 steps to reach Amy. Hooray! Let's take time and discuss. Do you buy it? Does it fit? How does it help? Moving on to Arc 5. Connected members have exotic connections which reach unfamiliar networks. This slide shows that member 6 also knows somebody named Alpha in an unfamiliar network, who is part of a small world network connected to somebody called Eta. Eta would be an excellent ally as well, if only we could reach them. The light blue line shows it would take 5 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to reach Eta. Hooray! But how did this happen? How do you do this in real life? It happens because when we took the time to talk to member 6, who we were in, I take the time to talk to member 6, who was introduced to me by you, and I talked to member 6 about my work. They told me about some of their other connections that might be distantly related but still useful. I had to invest time and bring member 6 closer into my dunbar circles, from somebody I just knew indirectly through you to somebody I started to more personally interact with. So, member 6 became an exotic connection for me that allowed me to link to Ada. Let's discuss. Do you buy this? Does it fit? How does it help? Moving to Arc 6. Connected members have persistent signals which propagate through chaotic systems to reach potential allies. We live in a chaotic system. Our world is a chaotic system. Chaotic systems include weather, economics, our brains, and our social networks. The behavior of a chaotic system cannot be predicted in detail. Yet there are general trends and recurring patterns that we can observe and with which we can work. A social signal, such as a conference presentation or an online post, will dissipate almost immediately upon entering our physical and online social networks. There's our signal, and boom, it just becomes a fine mist in the chaotic system that is our world and metaverse. Our signals must be repeated consistently and persistently and endure multiple bounces to reach others whom we don't know. Boom, bang, bang, boom, bang, bang, boom, bang, bang, boom. To reach others. When a version of our message reaches them, it will be subject to misunderstanding and dismissal. Don't we do the same with obscure messages that reach us? And yet, if the variations of the same signal keep popping up in their conversations and news feeds, variations coming from here, coming from there, coming from up, that are just possibly relevant to their interests, the message may catch enough of their attention to just take a look, perhaps to even respond to and ask for more information. That is the first barrier overcome, getting their attention. Doesn't this happen with some of the obscure messages that reach us? Discuss. Do you buy this? Does it fit? How does it help? Arc 7. The metaverse is a chaotic system which boosts connectivity. As a shared reality, the metaverse exists in the wires, radio waves, devices, and apps with which we connect and create. As a concept, the metaverse exists in our beliefs, desires, intentions, emotions, and thoughts. The metaverse exists conceptually, physically, and digitally. The metaverse connects us, but its definitions vary. Become conversant with the multiple definitions of the metaverse now in play. At every moment in the chaotic metaverse, something is birthing, something is dying, something is living, something is generating. It is an ecological system of connected apps. It is a virtual extension of civilization. Discuss. Do you buy this? Does it fit? How does it help? Closure of our arcs. Putting it all together. Recall our problem statement. How do I reach everyone else in the world? How do I reach others with shared areas of interest and practice whom I don't even know? How do I expand the scope and impact of my global networks of allies, starting with whom I already know? The slide shows a chart with a blue horizontal arrow representing increasing connections and a red arrow representing increasing connectivity. The diagonally rising arrow shows connectivity increasing as a result of the factors we have reviewed so far. 6 degrees of separation, 7 plus or minus 2, Dunbar's number, the social brain hypothesis, small world networks, chaotic systems, and the metaverse. So how do we reach everyone else in the world? How do we reach others with shared areas of interest and practice, whom we don't even know? For your mission in life, how do you reach the allies you need? Pause here and discuss. What has caught your attention? What can you use going forward? What needs to be addressed that hasn't been addressed? We're going to have dessert, so to speak, after that heavy meal of arcs and talk briefly about principal personality profile archetypes. There are many personality tests and team role identifiers that are used both by employers, teams, and individuals to identify traits, strengths, and weaknesses. Two of the most commonly used systems are the Belbin Team Inventory and the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. A more recent addition, Principles U, uses a cartographic map to explore the complex nature of personality archetypes and how they connect. These tools are relatively crude and should not be taken as definitive, but they can be helpful in explaining our personalities and building effective teams and working with allies. For example, I and a colleague completed the free test offered by Principles U Online, which yielded the following results. I came out as artisan, which is on an island called Creators. I also came out as strategist and planner in an island called Architects. So anyone that's got elements of creator or architect, I'll tend predictably to identify with. The question is, what about people that are on completely other different islands? As an example, my colleague hit strongly on the leader island. They come out as commander, quiet leader, and shaper. What in the world does that have to do, a leader with an architect or a leader with a creator? But it suggests that there's a common current of leadership over here and over here. You can visit the Principles U website to see this archetypes archipelago and see how this approach offers a flexible approach to team building. This completes today's presentation. Thank you for your attention.